All right, today we're going to do the Reading Habits book tag. I actually saw Ariel Bissett do this first. Nobody tagged me because nobody tags me yet. And I'll link to her channel down below. So question 1 is, do I have a certain place at home for reading? And we're actually sitting in it. This is my reading spot. The arms on the couch are wide enough that I can put a coaster on there and drink my coffee, coming to that. And I even use this lamp behind me, like when I'm reading or if I'm going to lean forward and take some notes, I just swing it forward, back and forward so that I can see my notes, see what's on my lap, everything like that. And I keep, you can see some other things right here, right? A little post-it stickies for taking notes on library books, and the post-it notes are just out of my reach. So that's what I do. And then you can't quite see, but beside the cup there is my, again, we're going to come to it, another thing that I use crucially down here when I'm reading. Number 2, bookmark or random piece of paper. Not opposed to a random piece of paper. That's totally okay. Random pieces of paper are fine with me. But I do use, this is, some people will care, it's Apartment by Teddy Wayne. But I do use this one that says, Even Snowmen Read, All About Snow from Eden. It's my daughter, my oldest daughter made this for me. And that's one that I keep quite regularly in rotation. As often as I can find it. Occasionally I put it down and I'm like, I don't know where it went. And then I also use various ones from the Bookman. So I have like a stack. Every time I go buy books there, they give me a new bookmark. So I've got a stack of them over on a shelf over here, and I just grab one. But I'm not past a post-it note or a receipt or a scrap of paper or anything like that. Those are just the ones that I have in rotation right now, the ones that I prefer. Next up. Can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? So I read for about, say an hour. If I get up at 5, then I will read till 7, whatever time that gives me. And then I will often read, like as I'm getting close to the 20 minutes to go mark, I will look to see what, where's the next natural break. So this morning I'm reading Boys and Sex by Peggy Orenstein. And then with about 20 minutes left, I looked ahead and realized that I was almost to chapter 2. So I went to chapter 2, but like another viable stopping point is some sort of like heading like that. That works for me too. I generally stop at what looks like a good visual marker in my books. Again, given time, right? If I had looked up and I was like, oh, there's, I'm already past my reading time, but I'm only 3 pages, I would just keep reading. If I, already passed my reading time and it looks like it's, be a few, like many pages to the next chapter, I would stop. Maybe the next marker, or if there's no next marker, I just stop where I was and not worry about it that much. But generally the next kind of visual marker, whether that's a chapter or a subheading or something like that. Do you eat or drink while read? Well, I already said I have a coaster right here. So this is Post Status WordPress, because I, do most of my income from WordPress programming. So yes, I do generally have coffee first thing in the morning with a hunk of butter in it. Multitasking, music or TV while reading. Never TV, but music. As you can see, can't see, just out of frame is my Sonos speaker. So I'll play some music with that over to, off my iPad on my desk, which is behind the video setup, and over to the Sonos speaker, and I'll listen to whatever off iMusic or Apple Music, sometimes off of the Amazon Music, but just depends on what I feel like. I was just listening to Men Without Hats today. That was my main music for the day. Reading at home, question 6. One book at a time or several at once. So you can see I have 2 books already. Generally I'm doing one thinking book. So this is what I'm taking notes in my book notebook. I'm really cataloging, I'm thinking about what's in here. And then I generally have one that I'm not as worried about. So in this case, it's a parchment, but like I read The Tale of Bill Murray recently, that's one, or I'll read, let me see. Some of the things on my upcoming list is The Inconvenient Indian. Probably will just read that. I don't know. I'll get into it and I'll see if it's a thinking book or not. So as I say, a thinking book. Or Me, Elton John, that one I'll just read in my spare time. I got 3 kids, I don't have spare time. I got 3 kids and my wife's out of work, off work right now because she has a job that works with a lot of other people. So she is off work right now. See, there's my Amazon device making noise for me. So yeah, I generally reading 2 at once, occasionally 3, but sometimes I might have like one that I'm thinking hard about, one that I'm just catching some post-it notes in. Bibliotech was one I did recently. I don't know where it is. It's up on my desk. Bibliotech was one I did recently where I just kind of, I was reading it kind of in my off time and took some notes on as I went. Or, here's another one. I'd rather be reading. I folded pages in this one because it's my book. I folded pages and kind of noted what I wanted. Bibliotech was a library book, so I just put in the post-it notes that you saw already and made notes where I needed to. So reading at home or everywhere. Generally at home. Like I don't necessarily carry a book everywhere. If I'm going to go somewhere and I'm expecting to have some waiting time, then I will carry a book. But if I'm just like, I don't always have a book in my bag outside of, I guess, what's on Kindle on my phone, but I don't actually read on Kindle a ton. So mostly at home. Occasionally, if I'm going to go out and work, though, first thing in the morning, I will take a book with me and I will plan to read to start. Reading out loud or silently in my head? Neither. I guess silently in my head, but I often don't pronounce the words as I'm going. Like I'm not like using a voice inside my head to read because it's slow. I read around 600 words a minute or so. Even when I'm like really trying to focus and capture the content, I'll read probably 500 to 600 words a minute. So if you're going to do that, you're not reading with a voice in your head. You're capturing words as pictures. So look up speed reading, see what that's about. You actually only need like I think it's the first and last letter of a word to be in the right spots, and then everything else can be wherever it wants, and you should be able to pick it up. Many people can pick that up. So I can do it, and I can read very fast when I want to. Do you read ahead or ever skip pages? I do. Sometimes I skip pages, especially in the thinking book. I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense. This and maybe I'll decide I won't finish the book. Right? I did that recently with I'd rather be reading, not worthwhile. I just wasn't getting it. Using a whole bunch of references around literary work that I have never read, so it just didn't make any sense to me. And I skipped ahead a couple times to different chapters and said, like, am I going to get this? In fiction, generally not. I don't read ahead because I just don't, because I'm reading fast enough that it doesn't matter. But I just don't feel the need to read ahead usually. Unless, like, if I was reading and I was like, oh, this is just not doing it, I might skip ahead a chapter or two and just, like, pick up somewhere randomly. Like, does this seem interesting? And if the answer is no, I'd just put it away. Breaking the spine or keep it like new. I don't actually really care. I just don't care. I don't think about it. I just try to treat the books reasonably nice, whether or not they're my own. My own books I treat nice, but I like they're here to be used, especially my own. The library books I might try and keep a little bit nicer, just because other people are going to use them as well, and that seems respectful. But I don't actually care. I put very little thought into break the spine or not. I'm not sure I could pick out a broken spine book and be like, oh, this one is clearly broken. Like, it just don't even think about it at all. So, sure. Now, I do say with my notebooks, my Lord's Term 1917 notebooks, I do, what do they call it? Condition or relax the book by, like, spreading the pages properly when I start them so that I have a nice notebook that lays flat. But as far as me, personally, with my books, break, not break, I don't even think about it. They're books to be used, book to be read, books to be enjoyed. So that's what I do with them. Final, do I write in my books? Sometimes. I sometimes write in my books, not always. So I actually did in I'd Rather Be Reading. Just happens to be here because I just finished it recently. And I folded a page, and then it's probably hard to see, but I kind of down here, I made a mark because that's kind of the quote that I wanted to look at. I'm more likely to grab one of these little post-it notes back here, this, and like tab a page, and then stick a post-it note on the page to say, like, this is what I thought about it. So you can see in the God Delusion right here, I don't think I did any post-it notes, no. But I have tabbed a bunch of it. And specifically, let's just grab this one, right? So right here, I just wrote, like, the Monty Python reference is what I was going for here. Yeah, the mad, bad, or good, or lunatic. And then just Monty Python because this is about Jesus. Because Jesus, it is possible, likely, I don't know what the right word is, that there were many people going around saying, I'm the Savior at the same time. Life of Brian, Monty Python. So I wrote that there, and I will actually, so these books back here are still, they're already in my notebook, but I'm going to review them still. And Bibliotech is up there because I read it already. And that one I had some post-it notes. So before I send it back to the library, which I will be a bit because they just closed due to the virus stuff. So, and said closed, waived all fees. So, I'll return it at some point. I'll put it in my stack of books to return over there at some point, and I'll return them. But that one I'll peel all my stickers back out of it, and I also make notes of each page, what page my notes in my notebook are in, so that if I get a copy bibliothèque, I can actually go back and like retab the pages and like put notes in on thoughts, so I could re-index the book for myself, as long as I get hard copy, I suppose. Although even without hard copy, I would be able to tell like fairly closely, like if it was a different format, different page numbering for different paragraphs, I'd be able to tell fairly closely what the content of that book was. Is that it? Oh, lost my place. That is it. Those are my reading habits. Here's my certain place for reading. We're sitting in it. I just, sit back like this instead. Okay, we're in my reading spot. Yeah, that's it. So, I'd love to hear about your reading spot. Tag whomever. Tag whomever. Not really sure who follows me yet, so I don't know who I tag. But anyone, if you read, I'd love to hear where you read, what you do, how you do it, and everything like that. And enjoy your social isolation time. It's funny as we look at this social isolation or social distancing and like stay at home and stuff like that. I've been a freelancer for 12 years, working literally out of this office for the last 2 years. So for me, it basically said, please do exactly what you've been doing. It's like all the pasty computer nerds are suddenly, working at home, staying by themselves, playing video games are like the ones who are going to survive everything. I hope that you too, but enjoy your reading. I've got a stack of books to read. I got something cool, which I'll include in a haul. Maybe I'll record it after this. But I got Infinite Worlds, this is number 2 and number 1. So like cool art, science fiction magazine, full color. I'm opening it for you. Like science fiction stories, science fiction art. Just cool. Oh, the smell. It shows like a scent thing. There actually was one. Did you know that? There was a scent thing you could hook up to your computer and like we could put scents out. It was super lame. And I saw it years ago and thought, that's lame. No one's ever going to do that. But good art. So like this one, like I barely even see the art. So I will make sure we open this. But here's one. Infinite Worlds, number 1. One of the pieces of science fiction art in there, Gallery 2. So there's some stories in here, and there's some, mostly art though. Well, there's some more stories, more art near the end. Beautiful. Very excited to go through this. And then, seal it back up. So, you do what's the tag called? I forgot. Lost my place again. Reading habits tag. Do the reading habits tag. I'd love to hear it. Tag me if you do it, or mention me somehow so that YouTube notifies me. And I'd love to see it. And enjoy staying at home and reading. Have a good one.